I do want to say I'm very much impressed with your harpooning this tonight though, Task. Like it's really like, I don't know if yesterday was just kind of an off day or you've just gotten better, but it's dramatically noticeable today.
Yeah, yesterday I was just missing a few, and then I would just cut them short. I don't know what, it was an off day, I guess.
Matt, I would like to tell you a secret. Task is get good for no reason. He get ESL pro level just to screw me over. I'll let you know that right now.
Well, the secret is known to the world now.
I'm pretty sure you just hate supports in general.
I'm a support man.
I mean, you just focus us real hard.
I'm a support man. I know how hateful.
Yeah, that's your
Matt, you want to meet Cross?
Yeah, sorry, one second.
No problem.
Okay, he's muted. Sorry about that. Hey, Einstein. Life is good.
I'm not
You're
gonna
Slim.
Excited for the weekend. Glad that work's over.
No cabin in Slim.
I'm gonna rock reload.
I'll do that. I'll be chilling behind you, Task. I'm not gonna go cabin with Slim. Not that whole no shield or whatever.
Should we be doing it like ESL picks? So, you know, pick medic, trapper.
Right now, it's much more about just working together as a team, finding out what you're good with, and then we're gonna I'll worry about perks and like skill synergy once the basics are kind of down. Because I feel that while certain hunters are better, if you play what's comfortable with you and you have solid core skills, the perks and stuff are, yes, they're important, but they're much less important than the others. Ooh, I like this. I like this. I like this.
Say where we're going, but I think we all know where we're going.
Yeah, same thing.
Remember, the enemy's gate is down. I like this. I like there. So let's see what they look like from there.
North. Right. Yeah, north.
That's a really good start. I like the sneakiness. So it's most likely he's going to be at least at full armor. I like this. Ooh, the trapper.
Check underneath. You could
Behind you.
turn around.
Ooh.
I'll check it really fast. I'm right here.
Alright, Task.
Those
I'll check
bodies
another
were
way.
eaten.
You guys go ahead, Flats. They're eating bodies.
Those bodies got eaten.
Downstairs got eaten?
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So he
Yep,
definitely
they
went
did.
back.
So at this point, I feel like Kraz, when he's in sneak
Yeah,
mode,
he's trying to juke.
sticks too close. Oh, okay, this might actually work then. But he's kind of sticking a little too close to. Like usually when you sneak, you always want to be kind of on the
How much
move.
of a difference movement speed makes.
Oh,
It's
Alright.
careful, Task.
Thanks, Einstein. I love Ender's Game. Okay, this one should spawn birds. There we go. There's the birds.
birds.
Got him right underneath the thing.
Nice.
You must have been right in the area at DM. Going out the area towards the northwest.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Ender's Game is probably my favorite book of all time. I loved that book growing up.
With you, Bender.
It was a fantastic
Well,
book.
different Task.
I always used to relate. Okay, so here we go. So this is that dome area that you don't want to necessarily dome in. So let's keep the monster off the food. Even if you're, yeah, you always want to try and keep the monster off food. That's probably the #1 priority more than anything else almost. So the monster losing, now that he is found, is kind of getting a little jittery. You can kind of tell in his aiming. So he might, I like that the trapper is staying around this pillar. This rock is going to make or break the dome. And so I like that he's staying kind of in a centralized location. Monster is going for an engagement here. Oh, unfortunately misses the pounce. That pounce could have been really, really good. There's the pounce. Pounce will do a little bit of damage, but it looks like Slim just found him. Slim gets knocked back. Oh, it does look like, oh, this looks like a build of mine. It looks like it's 2 Vortex, 1 Banshee, or 1 Banshee, 2 Vortex. Ooh, and on the medic. Medic gets hit, and it looks like Hank comes by. I hear the dome. Nope, I did not hear the dome. That was something else. Thought I heard it. I do like that they're holding the dome until the monster's taking a little bit more damage. Because right now they're getting tossed around, and even not in a dome, and they're just doing a little too little damage. But now that the monster is committing, I would like to see a lot more punishment from Hyde. So monster deciding to back up. There we go, and this will be enough to put the monster at relatively close to full armor, but he is ready to evolve. That's the most important thing. So that Banshee Mine might smack Hyde in the face. Yep. Oh, just barely gets it right in the last second. Ooh, and there we go. There's the Kraken. And going after, focusing the assault. This is actually really good. And so right now, okay, so it looks like that, nope, it looks like they do shoot him off. But once that personal shield wears off, it might be a good time to do some additional damage or try and bait out. Right now, I feel like that he's actually trying to bait out a hunter. Oh, if he kept on, and he misses the dome. This is the perfect opportunity. No, he needs to go absolutely right now. He needs to go straight to a location and evolve. Do not stop. Do not turn around. There's no reason to. They're not. Yeah, this is very bad. He just needs to go absolutely straight. Probably evolving in this spot would probably be the best one.
Try to do it. It's just
Most of the attack can be used in those maximum damage.
Yeah, Ender's Shadow's not as bad. I feel that it's a little bit more on the politicalness of the things, and I feel like Orson Scott Card didn't try or didn't get in the book off the way it wanted. I'll talk about it later. I don't want to interrupt. Hey, Portkey, how's it going?
Hey, look how did Bill Gates get to where he was?
And there we go. Nice evolution spot. Hank will not be able to get him. Might possibly get domed here, but the Trapper way ahead of the rest of the group. You can tell that jetpack management makes a big difference because he's able to get here. Doing a little bit of damage. I would not be this close. There's absolutely no reason to be that close to the Kraken as soon as he comes out. And no, that was not a strike. That was just a graphical glitch because of a pounce. Oh. And the monster does get domed.
No way, did he just go through the wall?
Oh, and there he goes. Nice focusing on the medic there. And that's the best thing about Kraken. Kraken really does a lot of poking and prodding. Basically trying to soften up targets, and then when he finds a kill, goes straight after the kill. Nice little pounce there. Yeah, he might be able to vortex. Oh, might be able to get him down. Oh, blocks line of sight. Oh, one more hit. Very, very close. Very close on that. And there is the aftershock. The Trapper, really low health. That pounce misses. I've noticed that a lot of my Kraken pounces have been missing lately. I don't know if they've kind of changed it or not. But it seems like that the hitbox is really wonky. There we go. Trying to do a little bit of damage on the medic. Medic at a quarter of health.
Be careful. I'm full shielded.
And there we go. Assault getting pounced a little bit. Monster trying to play King of the Hill. And it does look like this is a relatively equal, like, I feel like that the monster probably could focus. I wouldn't go after food in an engagement like this. Not when you're, at the beginning of a dome, you might be able to get away with it, but towards the end, not so much. I do like this, though. Trying to keep away from Slim healing the group, but I feel like a little bit extra pressure might have been able to get Slim. So Kraken does lose half his health, but there are no strikes on the Hunters. That was a good, obviously, that was a good engagement for the Hunters. I feel like they should have done a little bit more damage. But the monster does get away and will be able to get ahead in the next engagement. When you don't have armor, be very careful about turning around as Kraken. It slows you down and exposes your big fat head. Ooh. Try to aftershock.
I didn't realize I got knocked off my bed.
There's a sloth over there, by the way.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Hunters are recovering thanks to Slim's bug being able to heal from across the map. Okay, so once again, he's going back into his trying to juke.
he dropped down.
So be very careful. If you can smell the Hunters, they can definitely hear you. Oh, and there's the pings. I haven't been seeing very many pings this game. Oh, that Mammoth Bird might shoot him off. There we go. Get a little bit of meat. Ooh, and then he'll be so. Excuse me. So 6 meat from 2 Mammoth Birds makes it very strong. So that means if you do get engaged, you're in a very good position. Now, as Kraken and with the Aftershock build, you kind of want to be domed in a little bit more claustrophobic area than a Lightning Strike Kraken. And so finding a good opportunity to fight somebody, like if he could get domed underneath there with an Aftershock build, I think would be very strong. And there we go, getting some more food. I like that he's not, that he is still building up his armor and his evolution, so that if things do turn south, he can always use the 3rd evolution to replenish a little bit of health. I mean, technically you don't replenish health, but it gives you that buffer a bit more. So one thing, if you get hook shot by a griffin and the dome, and you suspect a dome, immediately crouch and try and pounce, because pounce actually doesn't get tethered by the whatchamacallit. Ooh, nice aftershock. Really strong start to the engagement. And Slim here getting very, very focused. And there we go, a couple of Banshee mines floating around. Ooh, nice follow-up with the... Oh, some support might go down there. I feel that that defensive barrage was a little too late, but it's still going to do a good amount of damage. And this is what I'm talking about. Once you get that first strike off, if you can keep on doing it, you have a great opportunity moment. So right now, absolutely go after the medic. Oh, and there comes the aftershock. Looks like... Oh, and there we go. So once again, they need to worry about jetpack management. The bug is going to heal the support off. But one thing to be aware of, especially with a build like this, if it's just Banshee Mines, Vortex, and Aftershock, only save your jetpack for Aftershock. You know, Banshee Mines and the Vortex are not going to be... Oh my gosh, everyone goes down. And so that's what you should be saving all of your pack. Really good game. A lot closer this time. I just feel that they were a little out of position. You okay with it?
Kevin,
Don't choke.
I was sure we could kill him with pistols before he got tasked.
Hi. Oh yeah, thank you.
That was a good game, guys. That was, except for that slight little mishap where Killer got knocked into that. Yeah, he knocked you down into that little pit, and there's nothing we could really do.
Exactly knocked me. I didn't realize I forgot the pit was there. So
GG.
Back, I forgot it was there.
Really good game. It really went back and forth. It was interesting. So that first engagement, it wasn't obviously clear that the Hunters win. I mean, yes, the Hunters did permanent damage, but the monster was stage 2 and still had a slightly above half health. So all in all, it was really good because you guys didn't have the damage. So one thing to be careful of, though, is like right after that, you kind of did this awkward split towards the end, and that's when he was able to start finally getting you guys together. So one thing to be aware of with Kraken is you don't really want to be on the high ground with Kraken, because exactly what happened with Hank, he can vortex you and then just dive bomb after somebody and murder them. And so ironically enough, being on the high ground with a Kraken is usually not a good spot, especially if the monster is actively engaging you. Otherwise, what you want to do is you want to find these little areas that are maybe 10 meters tall, kind of pillar-like, and basically you just sit there by the edge. If the monster looks at you, you just duck behind cover. It's almost like a very old traditional first-person shooter where you kind of lean around a corner, you shoot, and the moment you start getting focused, you lean back, and then the rest of your team is doing damage. And that's a really strong way to fight Kraken in general. And one thing is, if you also know that the Kraken doesn't have Lightning Strike and just has Banshee Mines, Vortex, and Aftershock, don't worry about anything besides Aftershock. Save all your jetpack for Aftershock. You can double boost it. Usually, a lot of the times, the easiest way to dodge it is to double jetpack twice or 3 times straight up. That way, you don't have to worry about if the monster is going in the same direction as you, and so on and so forth. And then when you're falling down slowly, you can kind of find a good, you can kind of get a bird's eye view of what's going on and figure a good place to reposition yourself. And so the only skills you should really use jetpack for against Kraken is a lightning or an aftershock. Banshee mines, especially if you have hide or Markov, like the mines will just kind of blow up by themselves. And then Vortex, that's only for kind of pushing things away. And to be honest, after the knockback nerf, Vortex is kind of very lackluster. I'm very disappointed in it because Vortex was my bread and butter back in the day. Okay, and so, but a really good game though. Like, it could have gone either way several times. I loved the juke in the beginning. I don't really want to well, I guess you're going to see the video anyway. So what he did is he ate the bodies up top, and then it made it look like he was going north, and then he ducked under, ate the 3 bodies, and was about to head south. And honestly, it was right at that moment when he was going to perform the perfect juke and go down towards the eastern end and get more wildlife. But task just happened. You literally almost landed on the Kraken, like right when they said, "I'm going to go down here to check it." And so you flew down, and it was in those bushes, like right next to you, when he says, "Oh, there's some bodies down here." And so it was very interesting. Like, I feel like if you landed on the ground, he would have pounced you, and that would have been really, really bad for you guys because the rest of your team was way west. But yeah, that's very important. Always check that downhill area because it really gives you a lot of information, and information is always very important in this game. Good job, though. Really good job.
That was a fun game.
That game went a lot better than for both sides than a lot of our previous games for sure.
I
Yep.
know one thing though. I love that that vortex into aftershock dive off.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you do. So Kraken, to me, his play style as a monster, he's very much a poker and a prodder. Basically, what he does is he hits somebody over here, and then he sweeps targets over here. Kraken is one of the few monsters where I don't like people focusing one target until you're ready for the kill. And what I mean by that is, like, so if you vortex a support or salt or whoever you're going after, and they go behind a line of sight obstruction, and you have the ability to absolutely go and murder him and then move on to the next target, or just fly away and get your strike and go on. But that's exactly what Kraken is. Kraken is a lot more hit and run than I feel Wraith is to an extent, because once the damage threshold, like once you get to about 50 or 60% health, Kraken's 3-point aftershock or 3-point lightning strike is very, very easy to clean up and mop up the rest of the health on that guy for. And so at that point, you're just kind of doing air attacks here, a vortex over there, shooting some banshee mines, whatever, it doesn't matter, until you find that moment where the health of a hunter is a certain spot, or you happen to vortex somebody over a lip of a cliff, and then it's just game over, and then the Krakens can just capitalize that on a lot. So it's hard for the Kraken to get that first downer strike, but once it happens, he's able to do that domino effect very, very easily. But really, really entertaining. Really, really good job.
I was going to say something about Cross is, I'm not sure, maybe it's just me looking bad, but it looked like you used some Banshee Mine spam like you shouldn't.
Yeah.
No, I did, but I did that to so you can that was when you was on that cliff. I actually did that to bait you jumping backwards, and you actually did, and I vortex you down.
No, before that, like right at the beginning of the engage, you threw them at the cliff before I was even there.
Wait, you talking about doing Pride on Rock?
No. At the same engagement, at the very beginning, you threw 2 Banshees, and a third one like a little bit later.
Hi.
Right at like 2 consecutive.
Oh yeah, I did that. I did that on purpose. So I was actually just, honestly, I was just wasting abilities. I just shot it off just to shoot it off.
Do you want bread?
But
there you go.
yeah.
So
I just
basically, you played badly. Got it.
Yeah, I just shot it off.
Yeah.
There was no reason to. I just shot it off.
Yeah, be careful about the Banshee Spines. That's a big pet peeve of mine too. Just because a lot of times you're just kind of wasting. That being the case, though, really good aftershock dive bombs. Really good job on that. And like I said, all against a Kraken is less about. I mean, position's important, but because you're not fighting for the high ground, you should always usually have at least half a tank of fuel at all times, and basically you're just dodging the big ones. Especially with a Hank, all you have to do is just dodge a few abilities. If somebody's low on a jetpack, and so if the monster starts a lightning strike or an aftershock and you don't have the ability to dodge it, don't waste a quarter of your tank just to get hit anyway. Just say I call it out, say aftershock, or you call it out however you want to call it. Some people call out their names or whatever, so that Hank knows to shield you specifically. And that's another thing. If you can also rely on Hank, but I feel like Hank's more of a crutch, to be honest. I feel like good jetpack management should be a lot easier to be able to dodge abilities than using Tank. Tank's kind of like, if you're a great team, Hank's shield doesn't really do much, but if you're an awful team, his ability does a lot. And so you don't want to rely on his ability too much, and so you really want good jetpack management. Speaking of which, what perk did you have, Task?
I ran movement speed on this map.
Okay, because you were always clearly ahead of the pack, and so I didn't know if you just had a perk, which is what I was suspecting, or if you just had an amazing jetpack management compared to the others. So let's go ahead, let's do one more game, and then I'm going to start shadowing some people.